Cannalicious, Cannalicious, MMJ all the way. My friends, I had a PhD in THC asking for a video about tinctures. So pitter patter, let's get at her. It is Sunday. It's 1:30. Thanks to these, my mood is much better. But before we get into actually taking some of them, let's talk about them. Not all of mine are labeled because when I bought these, they were just cooked. They were just finished, just bottled, and they didn't have time to run the labels. Excuse me. Labeling's important, and it's wonderful they wrote on it. What is a tincture? Let's start with that. What is a tincture? The best way to describe it is an edible form like canna tea. It is a way to ingest your medicine quicker, more efficiently, without smoking. Now, it's kind of, I could put it between an edible and a smokable. Because a tincture is meant, an edible takes a while to get into your system. You will feel some of it for the first little while, but you won't feel much of an edible until the 2-hour mark when it's going through your liver and metastasizing and becoming a different chemical. But the tincture being carboxylated already has the psychoactive effect in it. Now, that doesn't mean it will get you high. It depends on your usage, your dosage. So, and also, it depends on the strain that it's made with and what its intent is. Like, I'll give you an example right here. If it'll zoom in, and I'm sure it will. See that CBD 1:1, 40 mil. This is a CBD tincture. 1:1. That means that whatever the percentage of CBD is, the THC is equal. And never in the CBD plant do you get CBD up in the 20%, so you won't get a high THC tincture or anything else from that plant. This tincture is indica, again 40 mils, but this one is made from an indica plant. They also make them from sativa plants. That's important because what do you want out of your tincture? Do you need a tincture? First of all, a tincture is something that just a few drops can cause a lowering of anxiety or a low increase of pain tolerance, can help your digestive system, so many different things. So what you get, indica, sativa, or hybrid, or CBD, all depends on what you want to get out of it. That's why I very often like to have one indica and one CBD. Don't normally use the sativa tinctures. I have, because I do like the energy. If you're in a lot of pain or low energy and you have a sativa one, you can put that under your tongue and give yourself enough energy to get something done that you absolutely have to do. But if you suffer from anxiety, the sativa ones are a little tough. And again, not again. Firstly, I want to say I am speaking not on behalf of, but about MMJ Total Healthcare and their products. I have tried tinctures from other places. The most consistency of value has come from MMJ. Now, what is really a tincture? Let me get back to that. There are many ways to make it, but what it is carboxylated marijuana that has been soaked in either glycerin, grapeseed, even I have something here that apple cider vinegar, but with at least MMJ, you've got alcohol, you've got grapeseed. Those are, they don't have a glycerin one. Other places do. Glycerin ones are really, really sweet. I have a glycerin tincture somewhere here that somebody made, and they're very, very sweet. Very good for mixing, say, in a drink or in your coffee or something like that. But that isn't how I like to take a tincture, and that's why I don't go for the sweet one. If you like to take it in your mouth, if you like to take it raw, I wouldn't suggest the glycerin because it's going to be so overwhelmingly sweet in your mouth that I personally wouldn't enjoy that. So they take the, I'll explain it in alcohol and glycerin. You take the ground carboxylated marijuana and you put it into a jar, a mason jar, and you fill it with either the glycerin or with the alcohol or whatever you are using to draw out the THC. If it's glycerin or grapeseed or anything other than a really ripping alcohol, the entire process takes 90 days. You put the glycerin in and you really make sure that it's soaked but not squished, and you put it in a dark place, and every single day you turn it upside down. So you gotta make sure that it's good and sealed. Turn it upside down, next day turn it right side up. Next day turn it upside down, next day turn it 90 days. You're likely to miss a few days, so go a little longer, go 100 days. But then you end up, and my friend, and with alcohol base, it takes less time. It strips it much more. I'm not an alcohol drinker, and a lot of cannabis people are not. Therefore, I started with the alcohol base, and I found that it upset my tummy. So I have stuck with grapeseed ever since. So that's how tincture is. Now, why does it work if you're eating the THC? Why does it work right away? Because it enters the bloodstream. If you do it right, oh, that one's empty. If you do it right, I'm going to have a CBD one right here, right now, and I hope all of you will take a moment and have a toke and think about this, is a dropper full. No matter how long the tube is or thick or whatever, you can't measure it by what's in the tube. You measure it by squeeze, release. No matter how long or how wide, all of these have the same bubble on the top. One squeeze is a dropperful. A dropperful is approximately 30 drops. And in most cases, if all you want is just a tiny bit of relief, you put 3 or 4 drops on your tongue. It'll soak in, calm you down. You could do that kind of like all day long. But a proper dose, adult dose, is 2 of these under your tongue. And keep it under the tongue for about 25 seconds. Now, I'm not going to keep it there that long because then it's hard to talk to you, buddy. And I'm doing a single dose, but definitely I usually go 2 squeezes. And what happens, because it's under your tongue, it's entering the bloodstream right away. Within 20 seconds, you're already feeling some of the relief. Within a minute, you've got all the relief. I just swallowed that. Most of it was there. I could have kept it under my tongue for longer. The longer you keep it under the tongue, the the more the relief will be instantaneous, but it won't last as long. It doesn't last. I'd say it lasts a good half hour, and it melts off. There's no burnout from it. But are you somebody that needs a tincture? There, to me, I can't see people not having one. Um, the person that just texted me, you heard my text, Rebecca, she has high anxiety. An indica tincture is perfect for her. It lasts her weeks, if not months, because she only takes one half dropper, so 30 drops, when her anxiety is really high, and it's gone. For me, it is like a day like today where I never slept all last night at all, and I feel really odd. I had that tincture just now. I feel a lot better. I feel a lot better. It'll slowly wear off, but it's now the CBD is rolling through my system, making me a little stronger, making me a little more alert. And another good reason for tincture is when you're in places where you can't otherwise medicate. You can't smoke, you can't get out and have a bowl, there's no place to put up a rig. So you take a few droppers of this, watch a movie, take a few droppers of this just before going through a museum and enjoy it in the way it was meant to be, with your mind in a more cultured mood. So, do tinctures have a place in our life? I really think so. Ever since I started with MMJ's tinctures, I have not stopped. And they last me a fair while. I like to have one indica, one CBD, always here. In the last couple of days, I barely touched them because I had the CBD plant, and it was really doing what I get out of the tincture anyway, and it wasn't going anywhere. Once I start going somewhere, the tincture goes in the pocket. It's so easy to carry. They don't spill. They've got a really good seal. And also store them. You'll notice they always come in a brown bottle. There's a reason for that. The chemicals in here are affected by daylight, by sunlight. You'll degrade your tincture, and you degrade any pot by letting the sun stare at it, by letting daylight stare at it. Our baggies should be black, really. The only reason all our baggies for pot are see-through is our own vanity, because we want to see it, we want other people to see it. But in reality, if we want to keep our pot, that's why all of mine is always down in this drawer down here, because it's in the see-through bag. I would much rather not be. That's just things I've learned as I went along. So back to tincture. I now have that wonderful, wonderful CBD in my system, just rolling around. And when I pressed play, before I even took the tincture, my wrist was so sore. I'm really having trouble with my limbs, but I can feel it already, the tincture just affecting my pain level too. So should you have one? That's your choice. But if you have the time, if you can't buy it, make it. I'll even give you, I'll even link you if you ask for a couple of recipes for it. It's really simple to do. It's just time consuming. That's the end of that. I'm preparing for Weedy Weekend coming up in an hour or two. I hope you have a wonderful day. Peace and cheers, love and harmony. Enjoy your tinctures.